Snooker, loopy, nuts are we. Da, 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 da. Don't know the rest of the lyrics, but are you going to come in and help me a bit?
I know most of the lyrics from start to finish of Snooker Loopy.
Is it pot the something and screw back?
Pot. You watch a lot of snooker, yet you
Yes.
don't know what order the balls go in.
This is what I'm working up to.
So what might you pot normally?
Pot the red,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
and then you pot a black.
I mean,
Sometimes that's what they mostly go for.
You get the option of going for a colour.
Yeah, and they normally go for a black. Is that because it's got more points in it?
Yes, that's
See,
right.
I
yeah.
have no idea what they're doing.
Pot the red, then screw back.
Oh.
Do you know what screw back means?
I do now. It's where the ball goes backwards. The white ball goes backwards.
Yeah, you hit it at the bottom so that it's got
So
backspin
it's going to
on
come
it.
back.
Yeah. For the yellow, green, brown, blue, pink, and black.
Brilliant. So you do know the lyrics.
I know. Yeah, I was singing our son Blake to bed last night with Old Willie Thorne. His hair's all gone, but his mates all take the rise. His opponent said, "Cover up that head because it's shining in my eyes."
Are there lyrics in Snooker Loopy that we might not get away with these days? Is it a problematic song?
Not particularly.
I'm pleased, given that was the song that got him to go to sleep then.
Yeah, I mean, it's... No, I don't think... Unless... I mean, it does mock Willie Thorne for being bald.
For being bald. Okay. But it seemed to be in a gentle way.
Yes.
That didn't seem particularly sort of awful.
Well,
Willie.
when the lights shine down on his bald crown, there's no doubt he's going to walk it. It's just not fair giving off that glare. Perhaps I ought to chalk it.
Oh, and then he comes in and says
Yes.
that line, doesn't he? Yes.
I love the rhyming structure of Snooker Loopy because it's like AAB, CCB. So
Right, yeah.
you have two lines that rhyme and then a third, and then two other lines that rhyme differently, and then the sixth line rhymes with the third line. It's...
Well, it's genius, isn't it?
Yes, it is genius.
It's the genius of Chaz and Dave.
Yes. We're not here to talk about Snooker Loopy,
We're
despite
not, no.
Snooker being on telly. I would tell you most of the time when we don't have...
And that's maybe why we're going to cover films this time, because our television has been Blake's programmes, which is the majority of the day. Blake gets to choose what's on the telly, and then when he goes to bed, snooker. But the snooker's going to be finished in a couple of days, so we will be able to come back and talk about telly. But we're going to do film this time, aren't we?
We are. We're going to talk about... I've seen Thunderbolts.
You have Thunderbolts Asterix.
No.
Oh,
We've covered this before.
We have, but many years ago. We've been doing this for 5 years now.
You can't say asterisk.
Nope, that's true. I say Asterix.
And we found this out live on the podcast that you had no understanding of what the difference was. And I had to explain.
And it's, look, love, it's not going to change now. This is it. This is it. Like, we could talk about it. I could really, really try, but I'm not going to. To me, it's an Asterix. And I know you're going to say to me that's a character from, like, France.
Yes,
but
Gaul.
You know, we've been there before. It's just going to be that for me forever. I'll be 80 odd and I'll still be saying it. So yeah, Thunderbolts Asterix, and then Sinners. Oh, Mark, you can't pull that face every time I do it.
Okay. And then Sinners, which we've both seen.
Yeah.
Before we get on to those, though, during the week I sent you a link to a trailer for The Smashing Machine.
Yes.
And when I came back, you didn't reply to it at all, which was...
Standard.
Yeah, a little bit like, oh, I'm not sure. You said, I've got a lot of feelings about this.
Yes, I do have a lot of feelings. I have very complicated feelings. I actually put it on Instagram as well. I put the trailer up because it's an A24 trailer. And I put that up. It took me ages to find it, but I went to A24 and there it was.
Put it up on Instagram,
but you didn't
reply to me.
That's right. That's exactly how relationships work. And I said to everyone, as I said to you, I have just very complex feelings about the trailer. Do you want to talk a little bit about what it's the Smashing Machine, isn't it? I can't get the title in my head as well for some reason.
So this is a sports biographical film of Mark Kerr, who was one of the early stars of UFC before UFC was the big machine that it is now. it's taken from a documentary which was made in the early 2000s, which was one of the first kind of prestige documentaries I ever remember watching. I think I've got it on DVD somewhere.
I'm surprised I haven't seen this as a lover of documentaries and also sports biopics.
Yeah.
I'm really confused as to why I've not come across this before.
But the main reason people are talking about this is it's Benny Safdie's direction. Benny Safdie, thank you. It is Emily Blunt playing the wife of Mark Kerr, but the headline, it is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson playing Mark Kerr. So go on.
Are you wanting me to spill my complicated feelings?
Yes.
I think when I first opened this up, I was very confused about who was playing this Mark. Obviously, it was ticking all the boxes for me. I love sports dramas. I love a biopic. Like it's definitely my kettle of fish. And I've loved things like I loved The Iron Claw,
yes,
which you were fine about. You said, if I remember rightly, you said that you knew too much about the story.
Absolutely,
and obviously the story of the Iron Claw with this wrestling family had been changed quite significantly. I think one of the brothers had been left out of the story, and all of those. And there were some interesting plot points and narrative devices in that film that I think that, if I'm remembering, and you're nodding, you did go. But I loved it because it was my sort of thing. I think because I love films where people are doing like amazing things in sports. So we'll come on to talk about Michael B. Jordan.
Yes.
Later on in the pod, but like Creed, Rocky, those sorts of films. I love a boxing film as well. So anyway, I'm happy. But as I'm watching this trailer, I'm like, who is that? Like, who is it? And every scene, his face changes.
Yeah.
And then, so he's wearing a hat at one point, like a cap. So you can see the bottom of the chin. I'm like, oh, it's The Rock.
Yes.
Right, okay, it's The Rock. But then I see another scene, like the trailer runs on, more scenes. And again, I think the prosthetics are pulling me out of it. I was more my brain was more interested in the prosthetics and how they weren't working for me than the performance. And that's what I'm worried about. I'm really worried that this is going to be a brilliant film for Dwayne Johnson, because this is what we have said for years he should be doing. He should be doing these serious roles. He's a good actor. He needs some meaty material to really, really get his thumbs into. Here is something where he's alongside Emily Blunt, who is absolutely wonderful, as we know, can play a multitude of characters. Here she's going to be playing clearly the long-suffering wife. Let's see if we get some 3 dimensions out of that in the film. I'll be interested in that. But you've got someone brilliant to play against as well. It's Benny Safdie. It's A24. This should work for him. But I am being pulled out of the entire venture by, why does his face look like that? That's my complicated feeling.
Interesting. I mean, this seems clear to me that this is The Rock going for his Oscar. And this is a dark, dark story. That this will not be your happy, feel-good film of the year.
Brilliant.
I don't know whether you want to watch the documentary, because I'm sure I've got it on DVD somewhere. If you want to just save it, I would recommend it.
I don't know the story, and now you're telling me it's a dark story. I'm in it even more now. Now I'm like rubbing my hands together. Oh, it's dark.
That first weekend tickets are sold, isn't it? It's
So I prefer not to know anything. Like, I didn't really know much about the wrestling family and the Iron Claw.
The Von
apart
Erichs,
from,
yes.
Thank you. I had heard bits and pieces, and I'm sure before this film comes out, people will be talking about the darker moments of it, or they'll be maybe saying things in passing that I go, oh, I wish I didn't know that.
I'm not sure. I think this is obscure even for... I think people who followed wrestling knew the Von Erichs, because wrestling fans are typically really, really familiar with the history of it. I don't think your average MMA fan will know who Mark Kerr is.
Okay.
Because there isn't that culture of going back and watching the old events or anything like that.
Oh, of course
so,
not, yeah.
like, when the WWE Network launched, it was run on the infrastructure of the baseball network, and they were amazed that people weren't watching the new stuff. They were watching the stuff from 20, 30 years ago.
Well, people podcast about it from 20, 30 years. That's the whole, like...
And you could too if you'd listen to me. But yeah, there is just this thing of it's rewatchable in wrestling, whereas UFC and any other sport, like I wouldn't watch a TV like a football show like that was on this morning, like a football match that was on this morning, because it's just not the same when it's not live.
It's gone, hasn't it? Yeah, it's passed, and you know the
and you
outcome.
might watch the highlights the next day or something like that. Like that's obviously the successive match of the day.
Yes, but
you wouldn't watch an old match.
No.
So I think this is a really unknown story, and it's really interesting that this is what has gone.
Do you know when it comes out?
It's October this year.
Oh, okay, so it's a little while to wait. Okay,
a little while to wait, but it's proper in the awards.
Yes, calendar, end of the year.
Oeuvre. Yeah, so really exciting.
Yeah, brilliant. We'll be going to see that.
Let's talk about films that we have seen.
Yay! Let's do Thunderbolts first.
Yes,
and then let's do Sinners. You have to do Thunderbolts by yourself because you were the only one that went to see it.
Yeah. We're at an interesting place with the MCU now, in that since Endgame, the MCU has tried to make new stars, and I'm looking at Shang-Chi and the Eternals. Have you seen either of those films?
You know what? Back in the day where we had... this is a really random. Back in the day when we had, for a short period of time, a treadmill in our house.
Yes.
And it was like lockdown. I used to go into the treadmill room and I would put a film or a TV show. Remember the TV version of The Lord of the Rings?
I remember it. Yeah. I remember the first half an hour of the first episode. I was like, nope.
But that was me on the treadmill. So there's big things that I remember about being on the treadmill. Yeah. One was working my way through about 20 minutes of that and going, why am I hating this so much? Why am I hating? And turning it off. And the other one was watching or attempting to watch The Eternals. And again, I think my brain tells me that I've watched about 10 minutes of it. I think I've watched the entire thing.
Exactly how Chloe Zhao meant this to be watched.
It's like walking on a treadmill. Yeah, I was only walking as well. But that's how little it's meant to me, is that I think I've seen it.
Right, okay.
But I cannot remember a thing about it apart from some very unconvincing love stories.
I think Shang-Chi's an interesting character. I really enjoyed some of the action sequences in it, but for me, the film kind of fell apart in the final act, or sort of halfway through. It just lost my interest in it when they kind of went on a mission to somewhere. The Eternals I wasn't a fan of. I know that there's plenty of people who are, and I think it's interesting that those characters have not been mentioned at all since. After that, the MCU kind of went to shitting out films starring the B-level cast of the Avengers. So Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
I like that.
I was really disappointed. I think it had so much... The trailer offered so much, and it was kind of just not... I don't know what I wanted, but it probably wasn't that. Thor Love and Thunder was really, really bad. Ant-Man Quantumania, Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania was really bad. I wasn't even a massive fan of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, although it had a lot of heavy lifting to do with the death of Chadwick Boseman.
I agree. I enjoyed the acting, and I enjoyed's the wrong word. But I respected it as a film, but it probably won't be something that I revisit.
And then Captain America earlier this year. I don't even know whether I covered this on the podcast, but it was definitely bang average, and gave away way too much in the trailer. If you don't know what the final scene of that film is, you've not watched the trailer, and that played in every film I went to see for weeks. So
you couldn't hide.
hide from it. So it's really puzzling what they've done. So I came to this film, and obviously the big Marvel film this year is going to be Fantastic Four, and it feels like this was a bit of filler before the Fantastic Four came. And from the trailer, which again has been trailed before every sort of action and comedy film that I've seen this year, I kind of knew what was going to be. It would be Val, Julia Louis-Dreyfus's team, putting together this ragtag bunch of B characters from the MCU landfill, and kind of being like the anti-hero Suicide Squad, essentially. and then they would be put together, they'd not get on, they'd get on, then there'd be a big bad, and they'd all team together to beat them. And I was fine with that. This was going to live or die in my mind on how those elements played with each other. This definitely isn't that film. There's elements to it of that, but I was like sat there 20 minutes in going, hang on, this isn't going the way I thought. And it's really good of them to do something in the trailer which put me on edge. Like, I didn't understand where this was going. I still could kind of see roundabouts where it was going, but there definitely wasn't a big fight against a big bad at the end. There was a big bad that attacked New York, but the end fight definitely isn't what you think it is. And more to the point, this film does something which I've not seen in any MCU film before, which is deal with trauma. And there is a huge part of this film which is talking about what would happen if you gave someone who is living with trauma superpowers, and they have to deal with that darkness. And as someone who has gone through some horrible events in the recent years, I am really touched by how well this was handled, by what I was expecting to be absolute just a film to keep the budget going for the MCU. We get to the end and I'm like, okay, right, yeah, I enjoyed that a lot more. And then in the last 5 minutes, this film actually has consequence in the wider MCU. And I'm sat there beaming because this is a really, really good film. It's absolutely carried by Florence Pugh. But Florence Pugh is one of the greatest stars in Hollywood at the minute, so of course it's going to be carried by it. But David Harbour is great in this. A lot of comic relief. Sebastian Stan has his moments in this, so we've got Bucky Barnes back. Lewis Pullman, who I think had a really small role in Top Gun, comes back. Really interesting character.
Is he Bill Pullman's
Yes,
son?
Bill Pullman's son.
Because I keep seeing pictures of him in relation to this and going, God, he looks like Bill Pullman.
Funny
it
that.
Must be related to him. Yeah.
Wyatt Russell, who was really underserved in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show, comes back. Really, really good, endearing performance. Got some stuff to do. The females of the group, Hannah John Kamen and Olga Kurilenko, don't have a lot to do, and
it's difficult
for various different reasons as well. But this film went in places with where people ended up that I didn't see coming at all.
I think in an ensemble, there's always people that it's sad that it has to be the women, but there were always people that get more screen time than others.
Yeah, Hannah John Kamen, for example, definitely. She's used the plot point where she can walk through walls. That's her thing with ghost powers, and it's used to get them out of situations as and when they need it. So, and then she's still in the background, and then she comes to the fore. I think you should go see this.
Okay, right. You don't normally say that to me.
And I think you should go see this possibly as early as tomorrow.
Okay.
Because I think stuff will get out about this.
Right.
And it absolutely, I think I really appreciate this. I mean, I went in with low expectations, and now the fact that I've said this to you, that kind of belies that from you. But this sets up major franchise films going forward in the future, and not just Fantastic Four, the next one in the series. If you need to stay to the end of the credits because it's Marvel, but this is an end credit that you absolutely 100% have to stay for, because there are things that happen that will play parts in the next 2 or 3 years of the MCU.
As a non-Marvel person, as someone who dips in and out of films that I feel are important, like, for example, Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
Will I follow this film? Because I don't know, when she talked about ghost powers and Hannah, I can't remember what she was in. I don't know where Florence Pugh has come from. Possibly one of the TV shows
Black Widow,
or something like that.
She was introduced in, and she was in Hawkeye.
Right,
I don't think you need to know this. I don't think you need to know anything. You'll obviously get more knowing this.
Yeah.
But I don't think you need to know the ins and outs and everything. I think it would present itself perfectly fine as just someone walking up in a standalone film.
Right, okay.
But yeah, I genuinely think you should be watching this, because I think it's a really good film that deals with a really important part of life, and something that sits with us in this family, like trauma and what things mental health side of things and dealing with traumatic events in your past. But also, it's just a good film, and it's fun watching these people interact. I didn't expect to say that.
No, I didn't expect you to say that either. That was not what I think. I thought you would come out and maybe a little bit better than the Captain America Harrison Fordy film. I can't remember what it's called. Is it Red something? No,
no, Captain America, Brave New World.
That's it. I can never remember. I thought you might come out and say it was a bog standard 3-star, but I'm feeling it's more than that.
No, it's a really, really solid 4. This is my favourite MCU film, probably since Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, brilliant.
Which,
That's high praise.
Yeah. Should we talk about a film we've both seen?
Yes. And I'm going to do trailer talk again, because I was introduced to Sinners through a trailer that from a long time, I don't know what, I think I was doing what I normally do, which is go through YouTube new trailers coming out. When I get a little bit bored, I sit on YouTube and I look at the new trailers just to see what might come out and things that I hadn't known. And this came up, and it was, the visuals were so arresting, and I didn't know what was happening as well. It was one of the very early trailers. I have subsequently watched a second trailer that gives everything away. But if you rewind back in time with me and think back to when, like, a teaser, it must have been, had come out, I was just in it. I was in it because it's Ryan Coogler, written and directed. It's Michael B. Jordan playing a complicated role, which we'll come back to in a minute.
Yeah.
It's a cast of people like Wunmi Masaki, it's Haley Steinfeld, there were all of these people, and my great love of the 1990s, Delroy Lindo, the greatest angel known to mankind. If you've ever seen or remember A Life Less Ordinary, which was my favourite film of all time in the 90s.
Some people might argue, Clarence from It's a Wonderful Life.
No.
Delroy
Lindo and Holly Hunter as angels in Life Less Ordinary, the greatest performances ever. So it was just like ticking all of these boxes, and the music, and also in the trailer that something weird was happening.
Yes.
And also the setting of the 1930s, Mississippi, clearly a racial element to it, clearly going to be a lot of things about the Black experience, and then this music. So all of these things coming together. And then I discovered later on down the line that Michael B. Jordan was playing twin brothers in this film, and that, what I had read in the trailer was right. So 1930s Mississippi, twin brothers come back home after being away in Chicago, and refamiliarize themselves with people within the community to set up a juke joint.
Yes.
And the plot ensues.
Yeah.
And this is the first film where I've seen twin characters where I haven't gone running out the door like a Wile E. Coyote sort of film animation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a Roadrunner or whatever.
There's an Elaine-shaped hole in the door.
Thank you very much. That's the visual I'm going for. Normally, because of our experience of having had twins and one of our twins dying, I will run away from anything to do that. It will trigger me so badly, a double buggy, even if the kids are different ages. I have to really, really, you can see me now, my arms just flapping around. I have to restructure myself and put myself back together when I see that, and I blooming well see them every day. This is the first film where I've gone, you know what? I'm going to put my brave pants on, and I'm going to see this film that is going to have identical twins in, and identical twin boys as well. And I'm going to see what happens. And I'm so glad I did. I think this is an amazing, amazing film. It is my film of the year.
Okay.
To date. I've been a little bit nervous about talking to you about it, because I know you wouldn't have necessarily have the the visual baggage that I have around the twin visuals. I think you can set that aside much more easier than I can. But I love it so much. I'm nervous now that you're going to turn around and go,
No. I love this film. I think this is a good 4.5-star film.
That's interesting. There's a half knocked off. I'm 5 all the way. So
okay.
We
can talk about that.
We'll need to talk about that.
Certainly in spoilers. Mm-hmm. I went in knowing next to nothing about this film. I knew Michael B. Jordan playing twins. I knew it was set in the past. I knew there was something, and I'm not going to say any more behind a spoiler warning, because I think as little as you know of this film as possible, the more you'll get out of this.
Totally.
But I went in just blind, basically, and sat there and thought, oh my God. I was looking, whenever there's a film where people are playing twins and it's one person playing twins, you're always looking for the join.
Totally.
And the first scene, they're talking to each other, Smoke and Stack, the two twins, and I was sat there going, I'm not sure how this is going to play out. And then I was like, hang on, he's just passed him a cigarette.
I know.
Which, is goes to show, okay, we're not messing around with this. This is how well it's going to be. And from there, I never thought of it again. But also, it's a bit of show off, but it also plays into the plot as well later on.
Totally.
I mean, Ryan Coogler, I think this is his inception, really, isn't it? Because Christopher Nolan made his name, on a wider scale doing the Batman films, and then did Inception, which took his name and was hugely financially successful.
Yeah.
And this is what's happened with this. So it's going to make the next Ryan Coogler film something that Ryan Coogler's name can open in the same way that Christopher Nolan does. And I am absolutely there for this. Like I say, I have reservations, but there is a scene in this that I was sat there going, this is one of the greatest films I've ever seen in a cinema.
Yeah.
And it will, that has stuck with me. I assume you know exactly which scene I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's pure cinema. That's it. You know, I rarely go to the cinema these days. There's a lot of things going on, and just time-wise and being parent carers, a film has to really, really speak to me to get me to go and sit in a screening where I'm probably going to have someone with their blooming nachos 2 doors down from me, which happened in this film.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to block out the sound, and then someone's phone's going to come on. So for me, as an autistic person, I find going to the cinema much, much harder, especially as I'm getting older as well, and I'm less tolerant. So there's so many barriers in the way for me now, and yet people's phone, people coughing, nachos to the right of me, a guy who wouldn't stop twitching his foot, all of those,
stuck in the middle with you.
All of those things. And this is a long film as well. This is a film that takes its time to give you setup, to build characters. There's one point at the beginning where you're walking from one area to another area, and you're following a character, and it's not quick edits. We are in cars with people, chuntering along down the road, and we are with it. It's not edit. There we are. We're at the venue. I was able to block out all of that around me, and to enjoy the performances, and to enjoy the experience of being at the cinema. And it just reminded me, this is why I come to the cinema. It's that sort of yes, it is very good, sort of reminder for yourself. I absolutely loved it. And I normally, the length of a film puts me off, but this film appreciates what it is to build character and to build a world where you care about the people. And the twin thing for me almost became a nothingness, which was great for me in one sense, but it was also great for the film as well, that it wasn't just hanging on, oh, look, isn't this clever? Oh, look, can you work out which one's Smoke and which one's Stack? You absolutely can. There was only one scene where I was thinking to myself, oh, I'm not sure who this is. And it was later on, it was down the line, and it was when action was taking place, and I was like, I don't know who this is. the rest of it, yes, it's done in costume, but God, Michael B. Jordan, he can act, can't he? Like,
absolutely, so much charisma, and that guy with a look can just, like, absolutely just turn your world around. Like, absolutely owns the screen.
He's amazing.
Obviously, he's a big star now, and he's going to be a bigger star. I think I think he's going to. This is going to take him up to the proper realm of the A-lister, where he can open a film. We've been talking about this film for 10 minutes.
Okay.
And we have not yet mentioned Miles Caton.
No, I know. I was thinking that while I was chatting.
Who is the real framing device of this film, certainly in the beginning. This is the person who you follow all the way through. And, this film starts with a flash, with a scene, and then you see the flashback to a day earlier. Miles Caton plays a young boy who is the cousin of the twins, played by Michael B. Jordan. His father is a preacher, and he wants to go and play music, and his dad warns him that attracts evil.
It's the devil's.
And, I used to listen to a lot of blues for various different reasons, and there are all the stories of Robert Johnson selling his soul to the devil and things like that, and that runs all the way through this. But there is a scene where Miles Caton, playing Sammy, picks up a guitar in a car, and he opens his mouth.
Yeah.
And my jaw dropped to the floor.
Because you haven't heard him sing.
No.
And then, well, I suppose you've heard bits of it, but this...
And Michael B. Jordan just... his eyes light up and he screams. And I'm like, I am absolutely with you. Mm-hmm. Boy, that boy can sing and play guitar.
Yeah. Because is it his first role as well?
It's his first acting role.
Because I think in the credits is introducing.
I think he's done a bit of TV or something like that.
I mean, he's done well with this, hasn't he? Because this is
actually, I'm telling a lie. It is his first. It is his
ridiculous.
only entry on IMDb.
Ridiculous. How is that?
Under actor, music department, and soundtrack.
That is ridiculous. Oh, I hope he does really well after this, because what a role.
Yeah.
Because you're right, we're with him the entire way. He's our eyes and ears, and we are seeing it all through him, and we're with him, and we want him to do well. Absolutely brilliant. You said we've been going for 10 minutes. Do you want to head into spoilers at this point in time?
Let's talk spoilers, because I think what I need to say I can only talk about.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, so here is your spoiler warning, everyone. I feel like I should have some sort of jingle or something.
If you're leaving us here, please, and I really, really recommend, if you haven't seen this film, pause it, go out and see it. It's still playing, and it's still doing absolute business. This is going to be one of the biggest films of the year, both box office wise, and for something this good, and an original film as well. This isn't based on any IP. It's not based on a comic book or a film, not based on a previous film or a book or anything like that. This is a wholly original film. I am so glad this is doing well. Please go see it, but please do yourself a treat and just don't listen to our spoilers before you do it.
You keep dancing with the devil. One day he's gonna follow you home.
Come on then, what's your half a star?
I mean, come on, this isn't like me criticizing a film. For me, I don't think this... We've talked about in the past about how All Around the World by Oasis literally couldn't be any longer, because it's got 5 minutes of na 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 na, including 2 key changes and then a reprise at the end.
Right.
This film has... I'm happy with them taking the time to build the characters, and I think that adds to the film. This has a 4th act, which is the part where the racists, the KKK, come round, and then we have another fight sequence, which I didn't need. It felt like a 4th act, and narratively, I didn't think it needed it. I think it'd be a better film for just cutting that out. And then it's got an epilogue, which is kind of hidden in the credits. I'm not sure the epilogue necessarily worked for me.
I love that. That was one of my, well, not my favourite because I love the entire film, but I really appreciated that. I thought it was incredibly well done, given that I've seen lots of films where they just shove something at the end.
I don't get the logic of it.
Okay.
And I'm happy to debate that if you want, but
I don't know, because I don't want to debate it with you because I don't think I have any logic to it other than I just liked it.
Right,
I
okay.
liked the styling. I like the fact that we got to sit. I always,
it's like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air jumper.
Yeah, I think it's that Back to the Future moment for me. I like anything where we can go forwards in time or backwards in time, and so I really don't mind let's go to the 1990s and see what's happening there. I really love that sort of device.
I don't mind it.
And I liked seeing Haley Steinfeld and Michael B. Jordan again in their 90s get-up. I liked that, the resolution to that plot.
I don't mind that bit of it. I think it's the motivation that there is a line of, Smoke told us to
not bother you.
Not bother you.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't buy that. If they are vampires who are motivated by the flesh of humans.
Yeah, okay. But then their leader is gone. Their leader has died. So do you think in the lore, does
they've
that
survived
make a
for 60 years.
Yeah,
they are still
yeah.
eating people.
Yeah, I understand what I do now. Get what you're saying in terms of the logic of it, but I didn't mind it at all. I could wipe that away, given that it's a vampire film.
Like I said, it's a minor star off, so it's half a star off for me. But yeah, strongest recommendation for me.
But I really liked that that bit at the end. I think it worked up for him to be able to talk to them as an older man about how that day, because it all happens in one day, how that day was like the greatest day of his life. Even though all these things happened to it, like his love turned into a vampire and died, his cousins, obviously things happened there. But and we've all been, I think, to events or parties, or we've had experiences in our youth that have been transformational. And we've been, I don't know about you, I'm not looking at you, we've been, but like, if you've ever been to a really good night out, if you've ever had like the greatest night out, that you can feel like you're turning into something that life's working, life is lifing around you. And I think it can be quite, it's just the exuberance of youth. And
that night the living dead attacked me and killed all my family and scarred me for life.
Yeah.
Greatest night of my life.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked the sentiment of it. And you could remove, I mean, I'm going into all sorts now, but in my brain you could take the vampirism as a metaphor and take all of that out and see what he, that joint that everyone was playing at, where they felt for the most part safe, where they were playing music that meant a lot to them, where people were having a brilliant time, where they were making, all of that, the enterprise of community, and in the context of a deeply racist 1930s America.
Yeah.
So I appreciated all of that, and then it went a bit Dusk Till Dawn.
It does remind me of that joke. But aside from that, Miss Lincoln, what did you think of the theatre? It's
yeah, fair enough. But I really, what I thought your half a star off might have been just for the whole idea of here come the vamps.
Oh no,
you weren't bothered by that, because I think it's quite a tonal shift.
Yeah, but I appreciate that. Obviously it harks back to something like the film that everyone's been mentioning, from Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah,
which
I just have
a very similar thing. Yeah, but no, I don't think you could knock half a star off for the vampires.
That's what I
think
wondering.
The film succeeds or fails via that.
Yeah, it's either like 3-star or
It's the 2 stars or 5 on that. If that doesn't work for you,
I really love the vampire, and I love the sparingness with which he used them as well, like the glowing of the eyes, the fact that they launch up in the air, and a bit it's very 90s, isn't it? It felt a bit Buffy. It felt a bit like
I've never seen a second of Buffy. So.
I know, but you know what I mean. Like it felt 90s TV show where they're on strings and off they go up in the air, but you can't see them flying because they haven't got the budget. And obviously they have got the budget, but he's used it very sparingly. And I really like the whole, like the vampire Michael Flatleyism of it all. Was my favorite. I keep saying it was my favorite bit, but one of my favorite bits was when he did his old, and he did a river dance. He did a river dance move with the old arm out, and I was like, this is amazing. This is all my favorite things combined.
And I'm so glad to see Jack O'Connell back doing films. I mean, he's come back in the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. I've noticed he was in Back to Black, which I didn't see. He was in Ferrari, which I didn't see. He was in Lady Chatterley's Lover, which, again, I didn't see.
Okay.
But when he broke onto the scene, like, have you ever seen Starred Up?
No.
Or 71?
No.
Like, he broke through, and it really did seem like he was going to be the big next British star. And, I mean, he's been working all the way through, but he's just kind of fallen off that kind of next big thing thing. So
well, he's very I'm trying to think of he's sinister in this, isn't he? He's really really sinister.
But yeah, I'm not criticizing it by calling it 4.5 stars. It'll be in my top 10 of the year. I don't understand why you're getting all down.
I think because I was just all the way through. I'm going 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, and then I could knock half a star. I do have some small notes for Ryan Coogler. Towards the end, the fight scene with the vampires, I started to lose what was happening with each person. And if you said to me, how does each one of these of our lovely characters die,
that was my next point.
I wouldn't be able to tell you with any great detail or remember.
I to this day don't know what happened to the chows that were in this.
Right, okay.
And all the way through, the point of this film is they need to get back to their daughter.
Yes.
Who is an unresolved plot point as well.
Yeah.
That was another thing that really, like...
So and for me, obviously, because I'm thinking, what's happening to Delroy Lindo? I know he's gone. I just can't remember. And I know he leads a pack of vampires. He puts his blood, he splits some of their blood.
That's one of the people that I did know what happened to.
I think that, and I think obviously he was then
happened
consumed.
to cornbread?
But well, it's that sort of thing where I think it just, for all of the length that it took to get to that point, it just went it was very quick. Yeah. And so I struggled with it a little bit. What was the other thing I was going to say? Yeah, was it that? No, maybe it was that. Maybe just the editing towards the end. Yeah, I think that was it. Just that editing towards the end, it just went a little bit fast for me. There's one thing, I know you're smiling at me because I'm just making the same point over and over again, but there's one thing I want to say, and it's not really a spoilery thing, but I was, you know what, and I shouldn't be happy about this. It shouldn't be something that's like even in my head, but I was so satisfied as a woman of a certain age to see Michael B. Jordan's character, with one of them, Smoke, with a woman who was the same age as him. I know obviously with the other one, the stack, Haley Steinfeld is 28, Michael B. Jordan's 38, but Wunmi Mosaku is 38 and Michael B. Jordan's 38, and as soon as I saw them on screen together, I was like, that is a couple with history.
Yes.
That is a couple of equals. There's an equal relationship. There's loads of charisma and history between them, but my main thing, and it's because of who I am, my main thing was, isn't it nice to see a 38-year-old woman on screen rather than someone much younger?
Yeah I mean it's, I really like her, and I really like the fact that she has come through and done TV and is now getting better and better roles, and she's I keep on forgetting that she's British as well, which is like a testament to her acting, that she at no point do you think, oh, that's a nice accent.
Yeah.
She is just enlivened. She's and lives that character.
Yeah, she's brilliant, and she brings. I love. Obviously, she brings like the history of the supernatural and the knowledge of the cultural knowledge as well, which I really enjoyed because I like that sort of stuff. So you had someone there to sort of give you a bit of the lore and a bit of to explain, And I really loved that. I know people have talked about it loads as well, but the scene with the garlic where they all go around and chew the garlic, which is directly from the thing.
Yeah.
And you're waiting for him to subvert this trope, and then he does it in a different way. And he's so cine literate. There's so many. He's such a big nerd as well. Like you can just see in every scene, there's like all of this history, and yet so poignant as well. I think one of my other sort of standout scenes is where Delroy Lindo is talking about they see the chain gang on the road, and he's talking about how they were used and abused by white people, when they were musicians, and the lynching of one of his friends.
Yes.
And he's telling the story, and you have the sound, so you get the audio of the story that he's telling, and the sounds of those things. And that I found incredibly moving and really has stayed with me. But the whole film has stayed with me. I've listened to the soundtrack quite a few times. I've thought about the world. I think the world was built so well that to me it's real. It's one of those films where I don't feel like I've watched a film. I feel like I've watched a documentary, and that if I was to go back into the history books and flick through, I would find black and white photos of these sort of gangster twins who went to Chicago and then came home again. And I feel I would be seeing them in the newspaper footage or the the reels, the black and white reels. So it stayed really alive for me, this film.
Okay. One more thing that I want to talk about is just the burn the house down scene, which hands down is one of my favourite scenes I've ever seen in the cinema.
Okay.
Did you, when I said that that's the scene that stayed with me?
Yeah. I think it's brilliant. I understand all of the things that go around it, all of the cultural and heritage touch points, the visual, element to it, the narrative element to it. The only thing that took me out of it, and it's a really personal thing, and it's stupid, but the guy from the future made me think of Bill and Ted. The guy playing the guitar with the pointy gold, with his glasses on and his headgear. Yeah. And I think, is he meant to be like a future Jimi Hendrix or something like that?
I would say it's closer to kind of one of the 70s sort of funk.
Like chic, sort of. Yeah. I was trying to see it, but it did look more futuristic than that. It really reminded me of Bill and Ted.
What bit from Bill and Ted?
Well, just, when they go into the future and they see futuristic people, it just stood out to. I think the beatboxing and the person with the turntables made much more sense to me than someone who looked like they were in almost like fancy dress. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I think it just was so. It felt to me like almost like a parody of, we're in the future. In the future, we'll wear this science-y gear. Do you know what I mean? And it's probably my ignorance. I'm going to completely lay that on the table. It's probably a take on someone that I should know, or Well,
I see it as being something like
a chic or something.
Like,
fine.
Yeah.
I think it just maybe it was too glam for me. Whereas the others, with the beautiful costuming and the some really interesting nods to history that I wanted to go away and look into, the Native American history, the history of Asia, all of those things. I thought it made me want to go away and look them up, whereas that just made me kind of think of it. It pulled me out of it a little bit, but I understand the scene as a whole. And as it got through, it got better. And I remember thinking, oh, I'm relaxing into this now. I'm relaxing into the guitar man. Can I say a very sex positive film as well? While we're here,
yeah,
I've not seen quite so many or heard quite so many references to oral sex for quite some time, nor seen it on screen. A lot of focus on women's pleasure, hooray. Women with different body shapes and different types and you know, a huge amount of diversity in all sorts of different ways, hooray. Yeah, well done, Ryan Coogler. Well done. Everyone was having a lovely time.
Yeah. Right up until the point they died.
Yeah.
But apparently that's not the that's not the end of a night that you that some people might think it would be. So yeah, the best night of my life.
The best night of my life. Right. That's all I've got. Is that all you've got?
I think that, I'll probably think of something the second we're
More
over.
than likely.
We've
More
got.
than likely.
We will do another podcast soon anyway, so I can do an addendum at the end if need be. So thanks for listening this far through. If you want to follow us on Instagram, I'm Mark_Greg.
And I am Elaine G. Wright. Had to think then, but we'll put it all in the show notes.
Yes, and also we'll see you next time.
See you next time.